Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We have DJ Will Packer on the.
First of all.
Marye.
I like that, Envy. You're using my alter ego.
The
I
only
like
reason I'm
that.
saying that is because during this quarantine, I don't really open up for too many people. But I have opened up for DJ Will Packer on several occasions where him and his wife get busy. I didn't know DJ Will Packer could DJ. I didn't know that. That was one thing I didn't know.
First of all, when he says me and my wife get busy, it's a DJ and a sexual preference. First of all, I want to bring that up. But that is true. Envy actually opened for me. We did like a charity joint for a very important charity, Silence the Shame.
That's right.
That our sister down here does, Shanti Das, promote, mental health. And Envy opened, and then I spun.
That's right.
Now, listen, as good as I am at making movies and TV shows is probably as bad as I am at DJing. So
you was rocking.
I was here's the thing. I have a good time. You know how they say dance like nobody's watching? I don't care who's watching when I DJ. I got a good mic game. I know how to talk. My song selection is good. Envy, you got to teach me how to blend and how to work on some of my transitions, but it's still a party.
I got you.
Drink enough. You drink enough. I'm a good DJ. If you drink enough, I can rock a party.
Yeah, I saw you last night celebrating because the goddamn Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to the Super Bowl. And what's so interesting about this, I don't think that this interview is a coincidence. I think you scheduled this on purpose, the day after the NFC Championship game.
Charlamagne, was there a game last night?
No, was there a game last night?
Yeah, I'm surprised you're not in that Tampa Bay Buccaneers room in your house right now, still dancing.
There you go.
Okay.
I don't know. Whatever. I don't keep up with these things. The news happens so fast, you can miss it. So there's something. If something happened, y'all gotta let me know. Whatever.
Nice coffee mug.
Nice
Nice Tampa Bay Buccaneers coffee mug, Will.
Guys, I'm just over here being great and history making and aspirational. That's all I'm doing. Me, Tom Brady. That's what we do. We whatever. The fact that I get to talk to you guys, especially my man Charlamagne, a Cowboys fan, because I live with a bunch of Cowboys fans. But the fact I get to talk to you the day after when we go in the Super Bowl, it's so crazy how this worked out.
Yeah, I don't think this is a coincidence. I really don't.
My goodness.
Listen, if you think I wouldn't have canceled this interview if we had lost that game yesterday, I would have called in sick on a Zoom.
Well, Felischa, Mary, welcome.
I've been here covering. I'd have been here. Well, Will couldn't be with us today. He's been morning.
She is the showrunner for the new show, which I had to turn off because as I was watching this show, I'm watching.
Why is that?
I'm watching it. I didn't show Charlamagne this part yet, but I'm watching the show and I'm seeing a couple getting it on, and then I seen a brother walk by naked with his schlong just swinging all over the place, and the first thing I said is, "What network is this going to?"
That happens. What happens when you walk and you have no clothes on?
Right.
That's right.
I don't think Angela Yee would complain.
I am A-okay with it. Trust me.
That's
it's time. My goal in 2021: objectify men. It's your time.
Goodness gracious.
Well, here's to that, Angela. Here's to that.
Well, let's
Yes,
talk.
cheers to that. I found out that you actually can't have an erect penis though on screen. Is that true?
Well, that gets into porn. I mean, that's
that gets a little tricky.
Well, pause. It wasn't erect. It was down, but.
You know what it can do. I'm sorry.
I appreciate the detail in Envy's description. I appreciate the fact that Envy really, got in there and did an analysis of how flaccid or not that
got
the
in there.
was.
Yeah.
No, Envy was very well.
Good job.
Nothing wrong with that. What I would say is that the name of the show is called Bigger. This brother didn't need to be erect. That's what I'm gonna say. I let Felischa in there.
Yeah, that'd have been
I gave Felischa the budget, and she went crazy, and we snuck it past the BET censors because the show originally it streams on BET Plus,
right? But
now tonight, actually, it's going to be airing on BET, regular BET, so you don't have to use your bootleg Fire Stick. You don't need to borrow somebody's, trial code or nothing like that. It's on BET, and it's starting tonight, and you get to see some of this madness and tomfoolery that Felischa and her crew have put together. But It's hilarious. They went there. They go there on this show.
Yes, great casting, Felischa.
Oh, thank you.
That's all you care about, Yee. Now tell us about the show for people that don't know about the show. What's the premise of the show?
The premise of the show is it's about a group of friends who are college friends. They went to a HBCU, a fictitious one.
Which one? Which one would it be if it was real? Which one would it be, Hampton?
It would have been Clark. If it was real, it would have been Clark. We shot last year. I'm sorry. We shot in
Atlanta.
We got to give Clark a shout out. We did a flashback episode, and that's in season 1, which will be airing on the main BET channel, so you can see that. But it's about these friends who have been friends all their lives since college, and they're just trying to figure out life in Atlanta. This is sort of that a different part of Atlanta maybe than the show Atlanta. It's like the professional climbing, group of friends that are college grads trying to figure out life. And part of that inspired by my own life, because I used to be in PR before like moving to LA to become a writer, kind of late in life. I wasn't in my 20s doing that. But the whole group is asking the question, what's bigger and better? Is my life big enough? Am I living my best life? And they question each other and their selves about that. And in the meantime, sometimes that question is like, do I take the risk? Like for me, the risk was moving to LA and pursuing that dream. Or do I do what is safe, and secure, like stay in marketing? And so they're all asking that. And Lane, the main character, is particularly asking that in her professional life, because she had left her corporate job and opened a shop in Little 5 Points, a vintage store. And in her personal life, she's been proposed to by a guy who has it together, a doctor who takes care of her and loves her, but he is not bigger. So
right.
it's so the penis is symbolic, it's symbolic.
Felischa, I want you to know this is a very triggering ass show for me. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm gonna tell you why, because I've expressed the insecurities that I have in my penis for years on this radio, especially being that my wife, who I've been with, forever, when she was in college, she cheated on me with a human whose penis was significantly bigger. So I have a lot of triggers.
It's not that hard to be big.
Saying that the answer
she chose you, Charlamagne. At the end of the day, listen, we are here for you, brother. We are
never gonna talk,
We're symbolically embracing you, my brother. We can't relate, but we feel for you, and we want you to know that we got your back. And I appreciate you sharing that moment. All right.
But to your point, Felischa, there is always going to be something bigger out there. So the question is, are you settling, especially if you're marrying somebody and they look so great on paper and everything is supposed to be so great, but what if you're not completely in love and you don't know if this is it and you don't know if there's something bigger out there for you? That's a really difficult decision to make.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it like pleasure, indulgence, or is it, I know what this life is safe and I know what's going to happen. And, and I can't tell you what that answer is, but y'all can watch season 1.
And you're the creator and showrunner, right, Felischa?
Yes. The showrunner for season 1 was Devon Shepard. And I'm showrunning the second season, which is coming out this spring on BT Plus, the second season of Bigger. Dope.
Why was that important for you, Will, to make sure that the creator was a assistant and the showrunner?
I mean, listen, bro, we talked about it before and we always have a good time, but I appreciate y'all letting me come on this platform. And I think that if we're not using our various platforms and our power to do things like empower somebody like a Felischa Marye, right? A sister that's put in the time, put in the work. People may not know her name now, but you will know her, right? Mm-hmm. You watch this show, you will see how good she is at combining humor with provocative situations, with thought-provoking situations, and she just needed an opportunity. So if I'm not using my platform to put her in a position to win, what am I doing? It's the same thing you guys do. So it was important to do it. And Angela, you touched on something, which is like, we're always, especially people that are like in their 30s, 40s, like looking for something bigger and better. Like, is this it? Where it's not just about relationships, even in a job, right? Mm-hmm. Is this the job I'm supposed to have? Is this my passion? I talk to people like that all the time. I know y'all do too, where it's like, I'm not doing what I really want to do, or this is okay, but I think I could be doing better. Am I settling? And we all kind of have to deal with that in life, especially like with the pandemic. A lot of us have done like a refocus of what am I doing with my life? You know what I mean? And is this it? And so Felischa kind of deals with that. And you see the angst But, there's stuff about, gentrification and code switching and body positivity. Like, it's a lot of issues that I think a lot of us can relate to. It's a smart, funny show. That's what I was.
How was it taping during the pandemic and during COVID-19? Because you got a lot of party scenes, a lot of scenes where there's a lot of people. So that had to be difficult.
Yeah, well, we had a very strong COVID team, safety team. That's allowing a lot of productions to be able to shoot, particularly in Atlanta, that's still open right now to shoot. So we just had to sort of be on it with, like, I got tested 3 times a week. The actors got tested 3 times a week to sort of limit the potential to spread on set. So it was tense, I can't lie. But we found the humor in it, and we all like each other, and everybody's, just want to make good work and just feel blessed to be able to do it during a pandemic.
And it's also nice to get people jobs during this time, because it's not easy for people who have been out of work. So just to give people that opportunity. Does COVID get addressed in season 2 since you guys had to film during COVID?
Yeah, so you guys are first to learn that. We do have the show in the world of COVID. So that helped us too, because a lot of times we would have to have extras in masks anyway, because we just decided that this is a point in time that we're never going to forget. Like, this is an etched point in history that will be here forever. And why not capture the moment, especially with a comedy, so that we can lighten it as much as we can, because it's part of our everyday, and it's going to be for a while now, especially since it's, the vaccine has reached 2 people. So, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we were happy to add a little humor to what is otherwise a very stressful moment in time.
Felischa, I would love to know the challenges you faced prior to, Will, in regards to being hired as a showrunner.
Well, my journey. I feel very blessed. It's really a lot of pounding the pavement and not knowing if anyone's going to ever make your stuff. To be honest, it's a lot of, I had to put in the work of going to film school. I went to UCLA, like I said, later in life, just to give me the credibility, and just not moving out to LA randomly with all the thousands of other people who move out here to do various things. So I wanted to do something that, first of all, helped me learn the craft. So that was part of the challenge, just learning the craft at a professional level and getting in the game. But I recommend for people interested in, like, writing, to take classes or enroll in, like, a film school or something where you have someone else teaching you and responding to your work. And then after that, enter contests. A lot of the first thing I sold, a pilot I sold, was to an executive I met through a project called Film Independent, Project Involved. So it's learning the craft first, and that can take several years. It's nothing you could do quick. And then putting your work out there through context tests and writing fellowships. And that's kind of how it ended up happening. One thing leads to another. So take that one step, and that one step can open 5 other doors just because you took one step in the right direction. That's what kind of happened with me. So selling one pilot, landed at Will's company, even though that show wasn't greenlit. They got that script, and it happened to be a Friends type comedy. And so when they wanted to do a comedy in that space, they thought of me because they had my sample right around that time. So you just don't know how things are going to work. So you just do all the things, all the smart things. And just most importantly, make sure you really, if you're going to compete with people who are professional, that you really invest in the education around whatever whether it's directing, writing, acting, whatever that is. So invest in the craft.
Now, Will, yeah.
Oh, no, and just building on that, I was going to say what's interesting to me is that you talk about how it was really not in your 20s that you made that leap to go into writing. And so how do you decide it's time to pivot, and how do you prepare yourself for that?
For how do you pivot from another career? Mm-hmm. Well, it's scary. I mean, I had my little savings, and that didn't last very long because UCLA is a full-time program, so it didn't really allow you to work on the side. So to me, you're never 100%. Like, I was trying to wait at first. I was like, I need X amount in the bank, and it's never really enough. And sometimes you just have to make the leap. And with student loans, I was able to float myself. But for me, it was just doing the research. Like, my plan is film school, then from there, that would put me in the business. And so just have a plan and know and be realistic about that plan. That's all I did. Is I was like, my plan is film school as a vehicle to transition me into this career, and that allowed me to quit my job because I can get student loans. So that was literally kind of the loosest plan, you know, in the world, but it was enough to get me started because I knew I had some money to fall back on, like student loans, and that a school like UCLA would at least give me the credibility, so I'm not lost out here with other writers. So that was really my plan. And my thing is devise your plan and make sure it makes sense.
I have a question for both of you guys. You know, what are your thoughts on the movie business? And the reason I say that, I was watching the news and it was like, you know, Liam Neeson had the biggest week in the movies, and it was $2 million. And I'm like, ooh. I was like, ooh, that's usually when you hear big box office, you hear 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million. So for right now, does it even make sense to put movies in a movie theater? Because most theaters are closed. Most theaters are only showing at 20%, 30%. You know, does it make sense to do that right now?
No, I don't think so. I think that, you know, we're in a transitional period. It will never be like it was, where you had a lot of movies, not just big blockbusters in theaters and able to open and open big. You know, I myself, I have 10 number one movies at the box office back when box offices were open, and that really meant something. A lot of those types of movies will probably go to streaming now. And that's okay. I think the theaters will open back up. I think that once it's socially and medically acceptable to be back outside, so to speak, in the way that we were, I think theaters will come back. And I think that people want that experience. But I'll tell you, as a content creator, I got to be able to make stuff for people where they are. So I got to be able to make stuff for theaters, but I also got to be able to make stuff for streaming, make stuff for people to view at home. And it's still got to be good, because just because it's not in theaters doesn't mean everybody's going to watch it, because there's so much content out there now. So I still got to try to make good stuff and find my audience where they are. But no, it's a difficult time in the industry right now, Envy. But it's going to change. Theaters will open back up, but I think it will lend itself more towards the blockbusters, the Marvel movies, the comic book movies. Maybe not the girls' trips or Think Like a Man's and those types of things. Not to say I won't get theatricals for those, but I think you'll be seeing a lot of that stuff available on various streaming services.
But does that ruin it though? You know, like you think of Coming to America too. Like, I want to see that in the theater. I want the screen, the loud noise, the popcorn, you know, so it kind of takes
crowd
away
around you, people laughing with you.
Yes.
Yeah. It's different, brother. It's a different time. I mean, listen, the industry is up against a very difficult decision, because do you hold a Coming to America 2, which they've spent a sizable budget on? Right. And do they wait to some undetermined time, right, when the theaters are open and you can get that experience you're talking about? Or do you drop it right now? Amazon cut a very big check, right? So now everybody gets their money back that they spent on the movie. Do you drop it now and put it out there for people who are ready to see it now? It's not the same. And I know some filmmakers and some actors that have movies that were supposed to go to theaters. As you guys probably know, HBO and Warner Brothers dropped their whole slate on HBO Max this year. Yeah. So none of their movies are going to theaters. I know a lot of people affected by that. It's a challenging decision, and a lot of them are very disappointed, but it's the sign of the times, because the other option is, do you wait, another 18 months, another 24 months, a undetermined period of time, when these movies, some of them were supposed to come out last year. So right. I understand both sides of that coin. And the hope is just that audiences will still go find the best content, enjoy it as best they can, and that theaters will open up. But it's tough to just hold a movie forever, whether you're on the finance side or the creative side.
Well, Will, question. Can you create superstars without the theaters? Meaning, is Kevin Hart still a superstar if Think Like a Man doesn't come out in theaters? Does Tiffany Haddish become a superstar if Girls Trip doesn't do $100 million? Can Felicia Marye become a superstar showrunner, if it's not a big theater production?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. In a different way. Felicia says yes.
No.
It's the right question, Charlamagne, honestly, because it's a different type of star, right? Because, one of the things I've talked about for a while is that there's a difference between like a star and a celebrity. A celebrity is somebody that, everybody wants their selfie taken with them, got 1 million followers, and you can become a celeb a variety of ways. But a star is someone you will pay to see. someone that you will go out of your way to say, I'm going to go to a theater because I want to see the movie with Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish, whoever it is, Will Smith. I think you'll have a lot more celebs, people that feel like they are well known and famous, but I think the number of stars will drop, honestly, because there is something about seeing someone on the biggest platform possible. You had to leave your house to go see in the biggest movies, the most engaging movies, the best movies. Those feel like stars. And it definitely is a different world right now. Our star system is flipped upside down, but it has been for a while. For a while, it hasn't been just about who's in the movie. The stars haven't really been bringing in guaranteed box office like that for a while. You had to have the right movie. Tiffany Haddish, she wasn't a star, and the studio wanted another star. And I said, we don't need that. We need the right person for that role. And it was her. Now, it definitely made her a star. And I wish she could have that, that theatrical experience to continue to buoy her career. But it's different, man. You're asking the right question. It's a different time.
I wonder if it'll go back to how it was before. Once this pandemic is over. Just once this pandemic is over, is it going to be changed permanently?
I think that it will be different. I think it is changed permanently. I think you will have theaters that will open back up and there will be a theatrical experience. I really do. But I think that it will be, it will lean towards just the biggest blockbuster movies. And that's kind of unfortunate because you're talking to somebody that has made his career, making movies that really spoke and appealed to a big audience, but it wasn't about explosions or sci-fi or even huge budgets. I've been able to make a pretty good career by making movies that people just really enjoyed and really went out and wanted to see. I think those potentially could be pushed more to streaming now. But listen, at the end of the day, the best content will rise to the top. That's one, like this show Bigger, like it premiered on the BET Plus platform originally. Season 2 will be on BET Plus, but now people will get to see it tonight, 10:30 on BET, right? So it's there. And I think people are going to really enjoy this show once they have a chance to find it. And it doesn't matter where it is. If it's a good show, I think people will find it. I'm hoping that's what's going to happen here.
Now, Felischa, what was your inspiration to blend the live action with animation? Because I heard the penis is CGI. It's not real.
He's a hater.
Yeah, no, it's not CGI, but anyway, it's when we were initially talking about like how to have fun with this show, there are a lot of luckily we have so many outlets so we can have content now. It allows us to play a little more. Before with Black shows, I feel like we had to sort of get straight to the point, be kind of traditional. And it was like all the white shows had all the fun, like whether it was penises, Euphoria, or whether it's, breaking the fourth wall. We wanted to just do things that you wouldn't typically see in a show like this. And so animation became part of that. We thought, how creative can we make this? So, and it was inspired by, I don't know if you remember the movie 9 to 5, and there was like an animated sequence when Lily Tomlin was planning to murder someone, and it was like birds and Disney. It was pretty much Disney inspired. And so that's where we got this from. But it was an effort to just sort of make it stand out creatively and not just be the standard show. That was a conversation when creating season 1.
Absolutely. How much of yourself is in this show?
I think my voice is all over this show. Like, even though the friends are inspired by some of my friends, a little bit of me is in every character. My love for ratchetness or ratchet music or whatever that looks like might be like Tracy.
So which one would be you if you had to pick one? Which one would be you?
Probably Lane, because I'm always talking to myself. Sort of, if I had like a camera that followed me around, I would turn to it all the time to make side comments. Okay. So I would say, her journey from marketing to doing something she loved is inspired by my journey. And then that hesitation, like, what kind of person am I? Am I the safe person, or am I the person that takes risks? And which part of myself am I going to lean into more? And that sort of central question comes from my life.
Are you married?
I am not.
Okay.
Did you turn down somebody like Lane did?
You know,
I told you, Felischa, you got to be ready when you come on the breakfast.
I know. They asked really ready. There's no beating around the bush. There was not one particular man that was Greg. No, there was not one particular man that was Reggie either. They just symbolize, you know, the choice that you can make, but you can also see yourself wanting to scream in 10 years with this person. Gotcha. And then with the other option, the risky option, you can see that burning out in 2 months, you know, when you choose a Reggie in your life. And the same way with career, you know, I saw a version where I moved to LA and failed completely and then spent all my little savings. Then I saw, you know, a scenario where I'm talking to you guys, you know what I mean? It's always a choice when you take the risk of what that risk could lead to and which risks to take. You know, so that is, and I don't think it's a question we ask once in our lives. You know, I think it's something we continuously ask, but I think we first start asking the question once we do everything we think we're supposed to do in our 20s. Then we're like, good, great. Now what? You know, and the now what is where bigger picks up. Gotcha. Whether it's personal.
I'm sorry, Felischa. Go ahead. You finished?
Yes. No, I'm finished.
Yeah. I was going to ask, do you think it is significantly harder for a successful Black woman to find love?
Yes, I do. And I don't know what's behind that. Is it because, you know, Black women, we like to say, oh, men are intimidated by us. I don't think it's that simple. You know, I think it's really complex. I think, you know, don't have me get deep. We don't got no time. But I think I feel like, you know, the Black family, the Black relationship between Black men and women is just challenged by the perception of Black women in this society. You know, a lot of times when brothers who are equally yoked with a professional Black woman might try to choose other because they just think that's what they're supposed to do at a certain level. And that is informed by a lot of societal things throughout history. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's really, a lot of times we feel abandoned, you know, and we want to stick with brothers. And it's just, but then when I feel like, cause I am in a relationship and now, and with the Black man. And I feel like when people are sort of healthy about our place in society and who we are, we can find each other and move away all those sort of obstacles that society is really put in the way of, to me, Black love half the time. And, you know, I just think, you know, it's just more women than men in general. And then you pile on professional women and it's just not easy. I don't think it's easy for any woman, but I have a lot of hope with that. I think that Kamala Harris being our first vice president lets us be seen in a different way and validates us in a different way. So I'm hoping just the Black woman in America feels different, is valued and cherished in a different way. And then that means that men will do the same, will follow.
A lot of my homegirls tell me they cannot date, a lot of my successful homegirls, let me say that, real successful homegirls say they can't date a Black man unless he is in therapy, has actively gone to therapy or is in therapy now.
Absolutely. I feel like for me, therapy is huge in my life. And so I think it's like, that's what I mean. When two people are healthy, then I think you can get beyond the societal limitations that have been put on us that make it hard for us to sort of trust each other. And I think that takes health, like mental health, spiritual health, and to be able to trust another human being when society made it so that, in our history, just made it so that we don't all the time, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
Well, I look forward to watching this with the wife. It's very BET Uncutters. I mean, I seen another scene where.
Are you gonna talk about penises again?
No, this was an orgasm or squirt or coming. I seen water shoot. But you know what? I'm not gonna give it in. But
wait, and before we close, I just had one last question because it is bigger. Envy did bring it back to the penises, of course.
I didn't bring up the penis part.
But
no, Envy has definitely been very penis centered today. I'm here for it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's penis on the brain.
This is a safe space, brother.
Now, and this question is for Felischa. The question is bigger always better though? Because when it comes to penises, is it ever too much?
Oh.
It depends on the person. It's an individual choice, ladies. And that's where I leave that.
Can I say something, Angela? It's interesting because like even Charlamagne brought up like his successful friends, and I've heard that as well. And you know, Felischa talked about like there's this reality, not just perception, that is very hard for successful Black women to find a man. And in our show, she was talking about Reggie and Greg. So our lead character, she has a doctor, a successful Black man who is all about her.
Does everything, plays her favorite song, lights the candles. I'm sorry, again.
Yes. Little cornballish, maybe, you know.
A little bit.
That Felischa crafted the character is, you know, I felt a little triggered, you know what I mean? Because he was a successful brother that was a little corny, and he didn't have the swag. And then the kind of hood dude comes along, and he's packing, so he comes along with this, you know, 12 plus inches hanging down there.
Fake
and now,
Photoshop.
Yeah, we need a little edge. We need a little edge still.
You know, and she didn't just say, well, I'm gonna, you know, because it's hard to find a man and because I'm a successful Black woman, even though she's in a transition herself, she doesn't say, I'm gonna take the safe route. That's what I like about the show, is that it has a conversation that I think we need to have, right? Because are you settling if you take somebody, because it's hard to find a Black man. If you find a Black man and they, you know, check all the boxes on paper, but they don't really fulfill you. I don't mean just sexually. I mean just like really you're not sure if they're your soulmate. Do you settle because, you know, it's tough out there? Or do you try to find something that will truly fulfill you that you may never find? That was a central question of this
That's
show.
what's really hard, to walk away from something that's safe and secure.
Yeah.
That, like you said, looks good on paper, to see if there's something better. But then what if there's not? There might not be any going back.
Real. That's real.
I got one more question for you, Will. You know, we have to be intentional about putting us, meaning Black people, in these executive positions. You know, most of the time in this business, all a Black person needs is an opportunity. I wonder, do you get pushback sometimes when you're intentional about giving Black folks opportunity?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. I mean, that's in every industry. You know, we were talking NFL earlier. You saw that with all these, you know, coaching vacancies and not one Black coach hired as of yet, right? And other people get opportunities after opportunities. So sometimes I'm very intentional, and what I get is, well, have they done it before? Do they have the experience, right? There's somebody else over here who's had, you know, more experience in a particular space. So do you want to hire this person as a showrunner? And I have to say yes, because the other person got the opportunity before they were at that level. If we're not taking the chances, first of all, Hollywood is as risk averse as it is. It only succeeds when you're willing to take smart risk. And if we don't take smart risk on us, so at my level, what I get a lot of times from financiers is we want somebody that's got a ton of experience and has done this a bunch. And that's not always somebody that looks like Felischa. That's the reality. But if I don't say, we got to give, this sister's got a voice and got a vision, and no, she hasn't run a show before, but we can put a great team around her. Let's have her voice and bring it to life. If I don't say that and like demand that it happens, then a lot of times it won't. Now, the great thing about BET is that they were open to that. That's not a network that gave me a lot of pushback. You know, that's an amazing thing about BET and why I'm proud to be in business with them. But not all networks are like that. And it is very tough in this particular industry, because that's the thing with us. They say, well, you got to have a bunch of experience. But it's the chicken and the egg. If nobody's going to give you the shot, how do you get the experience, right? So now that I'm in a position that I can hire people, I got to do it. I'm taking risks. I told Felischa, I said, girl, don't fuck this up, because I believe in you. That made me look bad.
No, that's why we got to make sure this show is successful, so it's not so difficult for the next Felischa. You know, just like in the NFL, there's no, you know, the coaching vacancies haven't been filled by Black people, but if you think about it, there's a team going to the Super Bowl who has Black coaches in all 4 coordinator positions. I can't remember the name of the team. I don't remember which one it is, but
it's so weird. We'll think, whatever. We'll go to break and come back and see if we can figure out the name of that team. It's not the Cowboys, but I know that.
All right. Well, Felischa, Marye, Will Pack, we appreciate you for checking in, and definitely check out Bigger this Wednesday. At what time?
10:30.
10:30. And thank you guys for joining us. And I heard Tom Brady went to Hampton University. That's what I heard.
Definitely transferred from FAM.
That's the problem.
We're claiming him now.
That's the problem with them damn HBCUs. They accept anybody. They don't have no criteria.
There you go.
All right. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Thank you,
guys.
Felischa. Thank you, Will.
Thank you.
Peace.